Hi. A13 Wish here. Doing this podcast. Shouts out coming from Tampa, Florida. Hope everybody's having a deep day. You're still in the middle of space, so don't let the world fool you. But by all means, grab that wheel again, bud. I mean, just really hold on to it. Today we are going to discuss H plus a little bit, but not so much transhumanism from a Christine's perspective. We're really going to talk about the science behind it. First of all, let me open up with it works. They're H plus. They do something with the sugar or something. You know what I'm saying? Like there's amounts of it. There's like a finance principle, and what it is you don't need the numbers. It just kind of tighten the lid on the product. So, there's avenues of this. Some people do sugar, other people do triathlons, whatever, gardening, and I'm sure religion was probably the first one. Philosophy to follow, industries. People got jobs. Just essentially they were ninjas, specialists. They used to fight or whatever, but it ended up being this whole big thing with like the house and. They really didn't want to call it like feng shui, all of it, because like it was just so far out of bounds. Like the butcher. You know what I'm saying? So it's not gonna be like feng shui or anything, even though he does kind of handle his hands the way he's folding irons. But and it's not really ninja either, because you're like a producer at that rate. So there really is no observation about it that you're watching what you're doing. So anyway. Yeah, all these specialists and stuff, and the H plus does work though. You have your avenues of cavaliership and entrepreneurship, pioneering, Rolling Stones, your rebel gentlemen, your good Samaritans, your hackers, social engineers, movie buffs, all those guys, video filmmakers, audio technicians, synthesis crews, roadies, groupies. Gopis, everything. These people who do the alternative lifestyle, they be out there and stuff. None of them really call me though. They trying to hurry my baskets up and shit. But I got some very Easter eggs planted elsewhere. Getting back to it though, yeah. So you get these avenues of H plus and stuff, and these interesting people, and everyone wants to know how this came about. Like what happened in the situation. Did they make a choice? Was it Batman? Was it R.L. Stein? This guy had a normal life and he just got better. Like, what's the deal? So, without shedding too much light on something that I really don't know a lot about, at least through an attempt, what I'm going to do is actually go ahead and say that it has to do a lot with people who have tried to do things before. And counting on the aspect that that kind of road was not only used before, people have done it, so it's been traveled, but it was par for a city. So it's really important to keep in mind any kind of speciality revolving around an occupation which assists the economy or however becomes an inflation aspect of the economy is part of society, whether it be the foundation or the conversation abroad. So that's kind of the background there. That's why they're able to do what they do on a consistent basis. I mean, is it the best move for the money? That's a good question. That actually has a lot to do with future aspects of the occupation. And what I mean by that is not like savings accounts, but you get your hedge fund value. You get your the industry will invest in itself, and along the lines it'll be a trickle effect, and I'll be happier than a sin on paper anyway. So you get the sustainability of the aspect and the job security from it being immersed by it. But there's a lot of other positions that support such specialized occupations, like not really marvels, but I'm thinking more along the lines of like athletes or like performers, competitors, enthusiasts, hobbyists, things like that. What one of the more profound aspects of the competition value is that there's other positions surrounding these occupations that kind of bridge the gap between the odd and the normal, and that too is a part of society. So it's all part of the dinner. It all gets included. Um, and hunting really isn't what it used to be anymore. You know what I'm saying? Today, you won't be able to talk about hunting. It's kind of how flat of an issue it's become for someone so around, like as a regular person in one of the societies. It's just you go out there, you get your animal, you bring it back. Actually, nothing. It's like talking about the phone, the actual phone, the shape of it. You know, it just doesn't happen. So you get a lot of artistic format, you get a lot of creativity, and that all gets revolved around the specialist. It becomes a lunar landing that the specialist hones in on. So it's their job to get you all the bells and whistles communication has to offer in the form of a valued product. And that occurs through programming and media presentations. It also occurs as uh, conceptual assignments like hand me down objectives and initiatives, such as used goods, houses, even entire new fields brought up into the economy, which would usher classifications that would further diversify culture anyway. So the specialist is responsible for a lot of imagination. The specialist is responsible for a lot of self-guidance and rationalization that occupies the time of the specialist because said specialist lives off of that anyway. They galvanize their intuition to become more of a fit for a producer there than in the factory. They're a field producer. It's almost like they would produce the supplies for the consumer or the producer to produce or consume. Like the utensils versus the products and the commerce. And where does the observer come into play? Well, it's a good question. We all have skills. I was harping on the specialists before. This H plus thing is really gotten to be kind of a broad aspect. It really isn't talked about a lot, and I'll tell you why. Like I said, it involves the observer. It involves the entire society in the envelope of niches that would support such individuals, such as producers, consumers, and observers. And the fact that we all play a part in this revolves around the fact that things like H plus were around before. They just needed to be developed into something that would keep up with us while we were on the move. So while religion played a large role in the development of like the Renaissance and industrial ages, it's my belief that so many ages will have played a part in the great observable ages and other eons to come. So and that's kind of where the H plus would come into play because you would be operating against a huge timetable at that rate, and you would need to hurry production to a pace of efficiency, not just progression. And that is not only because of the population and general census of occupation abroad, but it's more along the lines of a globalization, terrestrialization initiative. You would need to keep up with other things that you could not foresee and sustain the economy with something so large as intellectual property or the specialist being, 5 farmers to 1 and that kind of thing, and you would also have the backwards compatibility where the 1 farmer you would still need the 5 farmers for other said jobs, but it all becomes an infrastructure. So the specialist sees all this, especially knows what's going on. He sees how to walk, from phone booth to phone booth. He knows where all the restaurants are in the city. The guys hailed the cab twice today already, things like that. And he'll go about his day doing certain things, it's really the Samaritan's responsibility to understand that they're not only observing such circumstances, but they're creating pathogens for the algorithms that are going to be released by the said specialist. they are the hall decorators and the deckers that these specialists will weave around and manipulate the city for. So while you may have a social engineer in your hands, you also have a great opportunity to teach someone because there's a lesson to be learned in guidance. There's a great responsibility to be acquired in orchestration, and in that you become a specialist. In that you become a developer, and ultimately we all become the producer anyway. So it's going to be interesting. This is what I'm talking about is occurring now. Over the next couple of years and so. 20s are coming up, 1920 or 2020 rather. Beginning of the millennium, 20s of the new millennium. We'll all see that. It's only about 10 years long. I think next year and stuff, most of us are in our 40s, I guess 30s. So, 10 years in this, guys. Everybody else, I'm sure they've seen a lot. I know that as far as places and people going certain ways, I do believe in new directions. I also believe in forthcomings. I'm a big Crossings fan. I do value the gospel, but I understand the epitome of choice, and I fear not someone's indispensability in the matters of deciding where we're not to go. It is a reputable concept and highly irrelevant when you consider the fact that evolution would assist the value of uncertainty over Planck had anybody ever not cared anyway. So it becomes part of the system. No special. But yeah. So anyway, H plus is it. We need more derivative there. We need more specialists on the floor, in the field, in the store. Talking to these customers, talking to these merchants, talking to these vendors, talking to these guys. You're talking to all these guys, and setting up things and what that does is it gets everything in motion. It bridges more gaps. It puts more food on the table because you had to go to lunch with those guys. They had lunch that day. So you gotta think about things like that. Also, the giveaways, swag. Free pens, clipboards, whatever, little notebooks, pockets or packets of alcohol, white pads, matchbooks, lighters. Even like shoelaces and stuff, things like that. You get those little T-shirts that you put in water and they expand for like $1 or something. And then the trick is to have like 5 of those on you. Don't get like 50 of them. You know what I'm saying? And then go out there and spend all day doing that one thing. Just get like 5 of them. Talk to these guys and say, hey, you're gonna come out with this new soda. Is you gonna do this, whatever? I got this book to sell. Jack down the street got this house to look at. Sally down the street got some whatever for sale. Here's my business card. Can I have your business card? Where's your phone number? You might have to get on Facebook, network yourself. I got a pretty good amount of people on my friends list. What kind of music into? Here's my demo. You gotta get this stuff moving because as it moves throughout the hands of the environment, it weaves a better basket for the containment of education to flourish into a garden of knowledge. And that works for the tree of systems. So you definitely want to keep a lookout for that. Other than that, deities and stuff, as far as H plus goes, you're not going to find too many new independents there. You would have accounted them to the religious occupation anyway. So, it's next in field if you want to drill and stuff for like new entities and stuff, names and everything, but just don't forget that they would have to check in with religion after that. They really wouldn't stay with H plus. It's not really a field of practice. It's more along the lines of a science of accusation. So it's made for the human growth and development system, not really for logs or anything like that. But yeah. Another great experiment would be to build boats. I know it sounds funny, but especially if you have like a canal or something, you gotta build a boat, man. It has to be done. It's very important, especially if you're like 16, 19, something like that. You still at home or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You got to build a boat, man. Put it in the creek. You know what I'm saying? Just sail it. Just take it down like a couple feet, just sitting there, and hope the wind pushes you back to the shore, and there's your boat ride. Because you break the envelope. You know what I'm saying? You bend time a little bit. You give the gears enough time to shift. And you get the oil where it's got to be. You know what I'm saying? You do things outside of the box. You know what I'm saying? Become the shadow that revolves around the time instead of the thing that falls on it. So build a boat. Boats are very important for exploration purposes, and you would probably avoid a lot of curiosity with that too. So those who are interested in avoiding curiosity, I recommend building a boat as a hobby. Even if you don't finish it, just keep up good work. Reading comics is also a good method of organization in a pinch because of all the paneling in it and the colorful imagery that depicts a lot of scribble behind the scenes, which is sugar coated with a lot of artwork and witty sentence. So I really recommend that. I'll also check out books Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged, and Stephen Hawking's The Universe in a Nutshell. I highly recommend those two books. Shout out to Brian Greene, famous physicist. Shout out to Fermilab and CERN, Particle Accelerator Collider Centers. And I have no idea when they're going to get this train built from Tampa to Orlando, but I mean, any day now. And if I had to become a monopoly myself, I'll invest in it. I promise. I'll even have the launcher for it. Anyway, yeah. So have a good day. Sing some sand, plant a tree, have some crossroads, some dollar. Um, yeah. Have a good day, everyone. Peace.